Final round. Fight. Sing. Rawr! Does that count as a fatality? Eat your heart out, Johnny. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. It's time to kickstart our normal October activity of Pretender Month. And this time around we're taking a look at a rather difficult pretender to find on the aftermarket. This is the Decepticon Electric Warrior Bludgeon. Bludgeon would be released in 1989 and he would only be available for that year. And we would not get a replacement for him. Bludgeon is one of the smaller pretenders, so he was one of them that was available on card. And as such, he is one of the more popular figures, partially due to the appearance of his pretender shell, with it having the appearance of being a skeleton dressed in samurai armor. The only downside is that he should have obviously included some sort of Japanese-styled sword. Like a rather long katana would probably not look bad on him, but unfortunately he did not include one. But overall, it is an impressive-looking toy, and he is one of the more difficult ones to find, especially loose. It has been a chore to find him and even find all the paperwork for this character. So, for any of you out there that are looking for one, I wish you the best of luck. Alright, to kick things off for the moment, we're going to set the shell aside. And we'll take a look here at Bludgeon himself. I mean, it's pretty obvious what he's going to transform into due to all the kibble. The one downside of the small size of these robots. But if nothing else, he does look formidably tough in this mode. And of course, like with all of these small pretenders, part of his accessories are used for the armor on the shell. As you can see, the tank turret portion forms a shield. At any rate, we'll take a look at Bludgeon's articulation, and for him it's primarily in the arms, as we can rotate his arms all the way around at the shoulder, just like that. And he can individually bend his legs at the knee. That's primarily mainly for transforming him, so it will not support his weight, unless you're very, very careful on how you position him. This light over here a little better. That's better. And of course, one major gripe that some people will have is about the location of his hands. His hands are positioned right here, along the very edge, near the tread, yet the hole is right back just behind his wrist, and that would be where you would mount his gun. So I know there are some that would criticize that, but if you've got the gun down in all the way like that, the way it hangs over, it does hang over his fist pretty well, so it does conceal the fact that he isn't truly holding his gun properly, but it does look as though he is holding it properly, so we'll give them some kudos for that. At any rate, let's transform him here into his alternate mode. The first thing we have to do, of course, is remove the gun. And then we will take the robot. There's this little slug peg here on his chest. You will slide it downward and it'll retract his head. And then we will straighten his arms out. They have a little post, so it'll snap into a hole on the sides of the robot. And then you will fold his legs up all the way and bring them into position. Just exactly like that. And then next we will turn him so that way the head and shoulders are facing the front. And then you will, of course, get the turret shield piece. And then you can attach that to the hole on top of the vehicle. And then add the gun in as well. And there you have it. Bludgeon is a little tank. He seems to be based more on a Cybertronian-styled tank. You know, kind of similar to how Siege Megatron looks with the 4 tank treads. His fist is sort of visible in between the gaps here. There is no way to condense him down. So unfortunately those do show off a bit. But given the nature of how the turret is attached, you can rotate the turret, but unfortunately it only rotates 180 degrees. So if you want him to fire backwards, you will have to physically remove it and turn it around to fire behind him. That's just due to the fact that the legs here stick up, and they will bar, his feet stick up rather, and they do bar access for the turret to rotate. And unfortunately, he has no wheels here underneath him, so rolling him, that's about all you're going to get. So that's a mild disappointment, to say the least. Because I do know there would be some that would appreciate being able to roll him around. But, of course, you still can, since there's no paint detail. But I would be cautious of what surfaces you do run him over, so you don't damage and scratch up the toy too badly. Alright, to fit him inside the Pretender shell, it's a pretty simple process. All we have to do is remove the turret. Of course, separate the pieces. Then, of course, we will get the halves of the shell here. And the tank just fits in. I think he goes in upside down, yep. He just fits in there just exactly like that. And of course, since he does feel, these small ones feature weapon storage. You can store the gun in the right leg. And then you would combine the shell halves together. Preferably without taking my fingers with it. I think I got him in there upside down. Let's try it that way. Well, yeah, because he does have a... This one does have a post in there that apparently he's supposed to line up with. So it might be easier to try to attach him to it. Okay, apparently it does not line up. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that works. We'll see how it works with him anyways. Just for giggles. Alrighty. There we go. We've got him inside. And then now you would add the helmet. Like that. That helps keep him closed up. And then, of course, he has his own shield that can be added to the left arm. And then you add the gun in to the front. Hold on just a second. Okay, once again, here he is in the Pretender shell. Like I said, I do like how the armor is done up on this. This is very impressive looking. And unfortunately, like all the humanoid-shaped Pretenders, the articulation is only in the arms. But you can rotate the arm all the way, and as you saw, you have no trouble with rotating them in any direction. Rather interesting looking figure, to say the least. Let's take a brief moment now to take a look at all of Bludgeon's parts, and we'll start, of course, with the shell. Here's the shell completely uncovered. Of course, we got some nice detail here on the skull. Of course, like all the humanoid-shaped shells, it splits into two pieces. You have the front half here, which also has the arms attached. And then, of course, you have the back half. And I figured out what exactly I was doing wrong. The robot should face the tank top should face the back, so the robot's chest would go against the chest of the shell. Darn, instructions are too small to look at from a distance. But that's the shell. Snap that together here. And of course, we have the shell's gun. Hold on a second. Phone's ringing. Hopefully we can get through this without any more interruptions, but here is the shell's gun, which the card labels as a laser rifle. As you can imagine, with the light-colored plastic this is molded in, it's probably difficult to find one in good shape and with good color. And of course we have the tank's gun, which the card describes as an electric cannon. It is rather small, but if nothing else, it is made of some sturdy plastic, so it will not break very easily. But I don't want to go around and test that theory myself, personally. And we also have the turret/shield. As you can see by looking at it here, it's got some nice details on it. At least it has nice detail on this side. The opposite side is, of course, hollow. And then lastly, we have his helmet. Done up in a similar style of early century samurai warriors. Though it'd be nice if it had a little more color to it, but that's just my opinion, really. And at any rate, that's all of Bludgeon's loose pieces. Alright, moving right along, we will now take a look at his file card here. As you can see, he's got a pretty wicked looking picture here of him, especially with how the shell looks. It is a pretty wild looking card. We'll turn it around here to the back side so that we can take a look at all the instructions. Of course, right here it starts off with the listing of all the toy's contents, and then how to arm the robot. Then it becomes turning him from the robot into the tank. And then from the tank to hiding in the robot. Hiding into the shell, excuse me. And lastly, as an added bonus, it has pictures of all the other figures in that series. I've reviewed maybe about half of these guys by about now, due to the fact that finding their cards, especially loose, is a very difficult task. Then, of course, down here we have the barcode and his robot points. Bludgeon was worth 1 robot point. Then moving right along now, we'll take a look here at his tech spec. It's got a purple bar at the top to say he's a Decepticon. It even says he's a Decepticon. And, of course, the picture here matches the one on the front of the card. It gives his name as Bludgeon, and his function is Electric Warrior. His motto is, to know your own limits, you must first know your foe's limits. A merciless, emotionless master of Metallicado, the deadly cybertronic martial art. Attacks his enemies' fracture points while remaining outside their line of fire. High-powered antennas produce electric fireballs with a range of over 400 yards. Battle armor secretes odorous mucus slime. Smoke generators in legs produce billowing clouds of black smoke that disorient the enemy. Inner robot armed with high-voltage electric cannon. So he takes this electric stuff seriously. Moving right along to his stats, we'll take a look at what it shows. This was, of course, how the tech specs were done in 1989, so that they didn't have to include decoders. Funny now that we're getting decoders for Earthrise. It lists his strength as 6, his intelligence is 8, his speed is 2, his endurance is 9, his rank is 6, his courage is 9, his firepower is 7, and his skill is 10. So while he may be on the slow side in terms of traveling around in tank mode, Bludgeon is a very powerful and effective warrior. Now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Bludgeon? Bludgeon, I find, is a fascinating character in his own right. He is a martial artist, so he is seeking out a little more of an honorable battle than many of the other Decepticons, but he is still a very ruthless and deadly fighter. Certainly nobody that they want to cross. Bludgeon has continued to remain within the lore of the Transformers, including appearing in more modern series. Like just recently, in the last wave of the card game, Bludgeon was one of the characters, surprisingly enough, to get a card for it. There was hopes that maybe his appearance might start a trend of bringing in the Pretenders. Unfortunately, the card game was canceled before that option could even be remotely considered. All in all, he's an interesting character, and that's one thing to go with. The toy, for the G1 era, it's kind of a mixed bag, to say the least. The robot, it's okay, as far as many of them go. When they're this small, they're a little hard to really give a whole lot of praise to. The tank mode, it could be better. The feet getting in the way of the turret rotating and the lack of even some Wii wheels to allow him to roll is a major disappointment. However, his Pretender shell is one of the more interesting ones to have been done in the line. The kind of unique combination of a skeleton in samurai armor is rather unique and does give him a distinctive look. While I'm not exactly a fan of the color of his armor, again, it still gives him a rather distinctive look that immediately says it's him, alright. But of course, as we can also see on the card backer here, when you take a look at his picture, it shows originally they were going to have the turret be the same color, be the same magenta color that the robot's body is. So, we could have gotten a lot worse. But thankfully, this toy has remained popular among the fans, and we can still look forward to seeing new versions coming up. At any rate, that's my review of the Decepticon Electric Warrior Bludgeon. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked this video, please leave me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button to join our ranks. Make sure you ring the bell so that you'll get notified when I post new content. I also ask that you share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. That's what helps this channel grow. And also share your thoughts about Bludgeon in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.